Slide 1. Foundations of the Subconscious Machine ***. Welcome, everyone. Let me ask you something. How many decisions do you think you made consciously this morning? You chose your outfit, maybe what to eat for breakfast. But here's the truth. About 95% of everything you did today wasn't a choice at all. It was autopilot. Your subconscious mind was running the show while your conscious mind was essentially riding shotgun, convinced it was in the driver's seat. Think about processing power for a moment. Your conscious mind can handle roughly 40 bits of information per second. That sounds impressive until you realize your subconscious is processing 11 million bits simultaneously. It's like comparing a garden hose to Niagara Falls. And just like Niagara, most of that power is invisible, working beneath the surface where you can't see it. You know the iceberg metaphor, right? What sank the Titanic wasn't the tip above the water. It was the massive structure hidden underneath. Your conscious mind is that tiny visible tip, maybe 5% of who you are. But the vast machinery that actually drives your life? That submarine continent of beliefs, habits, and automated responses lies completely beneath your awareness. And that's exactly why understanding it changes everything. Slide 2. How subconsciousness shapes your reality. Now, how does this invisible machinery actually create your reality? Picture a loop. Your thoughts spark emotions. Those emotions reinforce the same thoughts, and round it goes. Dr. Joe Dispenza points out something sobering. If 90% of the thoughts you're thinking today are identical to yesterday's thoughts, guess what? Your biology stays the same. Your reality stays the same. You're essentially living in yesterday, masquerading as today. Here's where it gets interesting. Everything in your environment responds to frequency, vibrational frequency. Ever walked into a room and felt tension without anyone saying a word? That's vibrational reality. Your attention is like a flashlight in a dark warehouse. Whatever you shine it on illuminates, expands, and draws more of itself toward you. Energy literally flows where your attention goes. But there's a catch. Your subconscious is completely blind to time. It doesn't understand later, or soon, or one day. When you visualize your dream life in the future tense, I will be successful, I will find love. Your subconscious hears only the absence of that state right now. It encodes lack, not possession. The only reality your subconscious recognizes is this moment, right here, right now. That's why the language you use internally matters so much. Slide 3. Core mechanisms, neuroplasticity, and habit formation. So how do we actually change this machinery? Enter neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. You've probably heard neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you think a thought, you're literally carving a groove in your brain tissue. Repeat that thought enough, and it becomes a canyon. Those repetitive thoughts develop physical relationships in your brain, creating what we call hardwired beliefs. Now, have you ever tried to break a bad habit and felt this weird internal resistance? Like your brain was fighting you? That's limbic friction. It's the psychological drag you feel when trying to override a subconscious program. Your body literally craves the familiar neural pathway because it's energy efficient. Overcoming this friction requires engaging what's called procedural memory, making the new behavior so automatic that it bypasses your conscious resistance entirely. Think of your brain as a redundant system designed for efficiency, not happiness. A habit isn't just something you do. It's a set of automatic, unconscious thoughts and behaviors acquired through repetition until your body knows how to do them better than your mind. Your heart rate, your posture, your anxiety levels, all automated. The body has memorized how to be you, and it runs that program 24/7 without asking permission. Slide 4. Practical techniques for rapid reprogramming. Let's get practical. How do we install new software in this biological computer? First, mental rehearsal. Close your eyes right now, in your imagination, and rehearse an action. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation with confidence, or performing perfectly in a presentation. Here's the magic. Your brain doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experience and physical experience. You're literally installing the neurological hardware as if the event has already occurred. Olympic athletes use this, surgeons use this. You can use it for anything.
Next, mirror work. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eye, and speak your intentions with absolute conviction. It feels awkward at first, doesn't it? That's because it works. Looking at yourself while declaring who you're becoming increases self-awareness and anchors those neural patterns deeper than silent affirmation ever could. You're forcing your brain to associate your own image with the new reality you're claiming. But here's the non-negotiable: repetition. The subconscious doesn't speak English or Spanish or Mandarin, it speaks frequency, emotion, and repetition. Consistent repetition is its primary language. When you bombard your subconscious with the same new viewpoint daily, eventually it has to validate that perspective as reality. It has no choice. It's just following programming. You become what you consistently think about, so choose the thoughts deliberately. Slide 5, Overcoming Resistance and Limiting Beliefs. Of course, the old system fights back. You need to identify the weeds in your mental garden. Start a thought journal. Yes, actually write this down. When you catch yourself thinking money is hard to earn, or I'm not attractive enough, or success is for other people, you've found a weed. You can't change what you can't see. Once identified, you have to pull these weeds to make room for new growth, because left unchecked, they'll choke out everything you're trying to plant. Now, here's something nobody talks about: your body is chemically addicted to your current emotional state. Whether that's stress, anxiety, unworthiness, or anger, your body has been conditioned to be the mind. When you try to change, your body will actually crave the old chemical cocktail. The unknown feels physiologically unsafe because your cells are screaming for their usual fix of cortisol or adrenaline. You're not just fighting thoughts, you're fighting biology. So how do you win? Think of it like saddling a wild stallion. Your body is that animal, powerful, instinctive, easily spooked. You must execute a will greater than your body's automated programs. When your mind drifts to the past, to old worries, to familiar pain, you settle that animal back into the present moment. Again and again. Not with force, but with relentless, gentle persistence. You become the rider, not the ridden. Slide 6, Building New Neural Pathways. Let's talk mechanics. How do we actually build these new pathways? There's a technique called task bracketing. Your brain has this structure called the basal ganglia that loves patterns. It marks the beginning and end of behaviors. When you clearly define the onset and offset of a new habit, you make the behavior reflexive regardless of how you feel that day. It's like setting bookends for your transformation. Here's a ninja trick: the cortisol awakening response. Every morning, your body naturally spikes cortisol, that stress hormone that usually fuels anxiety and worry. But you can hijack that spike. Instead of letting it fuel rumination, use it to fuel synaptic plasticity and neural rewiring. That morning energy is rocket fuel for change if you direct it consciously instead of letting it run wild. And when you slip up, and you will use mismatch replacement. The moment you catch yourself in a bad habit, immediately follow it with the positive behavior. Smoked a cigarette when you swore you quit? Immediately drink a glass of water and take 3 deep breaths. This creates a temporal mismatch that dismantles the old neural sequence. Your brain gets confused, and in that confusion, you can insert new code. The error becomes the entry point. Slide 7, Real-world application, the 7-minute ritual. Let me give you a protocol you can use tomorrow morning. I call it the 7-minute ritual. Minutes 1 through 3, the neural reset. Use 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This floods your prefrontal cortex with oxygen and activates your vagus nerve, dropping cortisol by up to 40%. You're literally calming the survival brain so the creative brain can come online. Minutes 4 and 5, visualization lock-in. While you're still in that theta wave state, that delicious half-awake place right between sleep and full consciousness, visualize your ideal day with extreme emotional intensity. Don't just see it, feel it. Feel the gratitude, the excitement, the peace. This is when your brain is most plastic, most receptive to new programming. You're carving new neural pathways while the old ones are still groggy. Minutes 6 and 7, intention imprint. Speak your intention out loud in the present tense. I am focused. I am abundant. I am creating value today. Speaking activates your motor cortex regions and sets your day's operating system. You've just rebooted your biological computer. 7 minutes to change your trajectory. That's not hyperbole, that's neuroscience. Slide 8, measuring progress and sustaining transformation. How do you know this is working? First, you'll experience increased self-awareness. You'll catch yourself mid-sentence, mid-thought before defaulting to old negative self-talk. It's like having a new internal observer who gently taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, is that thought taking you where you want to go?" That pause, that space between stimulus and response, is where freedom lives. Second, watch your refractory period. When something negative happens, a rude email, a traffic jam, a disappointment, how long does it take you to emotionally recover? Success isn't measured by never getting knocked down, it's measured by how quickly you get back up. Shorten that emotional reaction time. Prevent the bad mood from becoming a bad day, from becoming a bad personality trait. You're not suppressing emotions, you're processing them faster. And remember the 21-day minimum. Everyone wants overnight transformation, but research consistently shows it takes at least 21 days for your brain to habituate new behaviors on a neurophysiological level. Not 21 days of perfect execution, 21 days of consistent return. You will stumble. The path isn't linear. But if you stay in the game for 3 weeks minimum, the chemistry starts to shift. The new becomes normal. Slide 9, integrating reprogrammed beliefs daily. Transformation isn't a one-time event, it's a daily discipline. Let's talk energy management. Your energy is currency, limited, valuable, non-refundable. Yet most people invest their attention in distractions like social media that fragment their focus and train their brain to be unfocused. Every time you check your phone mindlessly, you're voting for a scattered mind. Stop spending your energy on things that don't compound toward your future self. Try this, the glowing ball of light technique. Practice broad focus by keeping your awareness, imagine it as a ball of light on one task at a time. When you're working, work. When you're with family, be with family. Prevent that ball of light from drifting to past stressors or future worries. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Scattered light warms nothing, focused light burns through steel. And every morning, fertilize the soil. Use what I call GPT gratitude, positive thoughts, thankfulness. These aren't just feel-good buzzwords, they create a fertile subconscious environment for new goals to take root. You can't plant roses in concrete. Gratitude softens the ground. It tells your subconscious, more of this, please. It shifts your frequency before your feet even hit the floor. Slide 10, Advanced Application, Accessing the Flow State. Now, let's go deeper. Flow state, that elusive zone where time disappears and performance peaks. There's a performance switch, and it's controlled by 5 intrinsic motivators: curiosity, mastery, purpose, autonomy, and autotelicity that's doing something for its own sake, not for external reward. When you align these five, cognitive load drops and flow triggers automatically. You're no longer thinking about the work, you're simply expressing through it. This creates what researchers call the virtuous cycle. Intrinsic motivation feeds flow, and flow compounds motivation, creating this self-sustaining upward spiral of peak performance. You don't have to force it, you just have to get out of the way. The work becomes its own reward, and excellence becomes inevitable. Ultimately, you transition from being extrinsic-driven chasing fame, money, validation to becoming autotelic. You become what the ancient texts called the Zen warrior, detached from external metrics but completely obsessed with the quality of the work itself. You're no longer performing for the audience, you're expressing your essence. And ironically, that's when the world pays attention. Slide 11, Case Studies, Breaking Reality Codes. Let me prove this works with some heavy hitters. Nikola Tesla, arguably one of the greatest inventors in history, didn't just sketch machines on paper. He built and tested entire machines in his subconscious mind first. He would visualize every component, every rotation, every electrical current, with such vivid detail that when he finally built the physical prototype, it worked perfectly the first time. He called this intuitive invention. We call it mental rehearsal at the highest level. Or consider the CIA gateway process. Yes, actual declassified documents. They analyzed how brain-heart coherence meditations can expand consciousness and potentially influence what they termed the universal holographic matrix. Now, I'm not saying you can levitate objects with your mind, but the research confirms that coherent states of consciousness create measurable changes in physical reality. Your internal state projects outward. And let's not forget the placebo effect, perhaps the most scientifically validated proof of mind over matter. People given sugar pills heal from real diseases because their subconscious believes the treatment is real. If the subconscious can override biology through belief alone, imagine what it can do when you consciously direct that belief toward a specific outcome rather than leaving it to chance. Slide 12, Synthesis, Becoming the Creator. So where does this all lead? To a simple choice you make every single morning, fighter or victim. Genetics deals the cards. That's your biology, your upbringing, your circumstances. But your mind plays the hand. Same deck, completely different games depending on who sits at the table. The victim waits for permission. The fighter creates conditions. Which one are you today? Here's the ultimate truth: you are not a record of your past. You're not a compilation of your mistakes, your traumas, or your limitations. You are a map to your future. Every time you choose a new thought, a new action, a new feeling, you're redrawing that map. You're changing your personal reality in real time. The pen is in your hand right now. This is the ultimate shift from cause and effect to causing an effect. Most people live in the first paradigm, waiting for life to change so they can feel better. They need the promotion to feel successful, the relationship to feel loved, the bank account to feel secure. But the enlightened mind reverses this: you feel successful first, you feel loved first, you feel secure first, and then life rearranges itself to match your state. You stop reacting to reality and start creating it. That's not just self-help fluff. That's the physics of consciousness. That's engineering your reality. Thank you. Now go build something extraordinary.